Joining me now, the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee and a former federal prosecutor, Congressman John Katko of New York. John, how are you?
Trey, it's good to see you again, my friend.
Likewise. All right, you're familiar with New York. If crime rates are indeed rising in New York, what do you attribute that to?
Well, last week in my capacity as head of Homeland Security Committee for Republicans, I went to New York City and had a roundtable discussion with law enforcement at all levels in the area. And it was unbelievable how profound the problems are in New York City. And they are directly attributed to two things. Number one, they defunded the police department in New York City by 1/6, cutting $1 billion from a police department that is charged with protecting the #1 terrorist target in the world, New York City. And the second thing they told me was that the laws that are being passed, like bail reform, are hampering their ability to do their job. So it's like a 1-2 punch that has really caused a catastrophic rise in crime rates in New York City.
Congressman, I want you to listen with me to President Biden, and then I'm going to ask you a question on the other side of this clip.
We know that if there is a strict enforcement of background checks, then fewer guns get into the hands of criminals. There's still too many loopholes in that system. Enough rogue gun dealers feel like they can get away with selling guns to people who aren't legally allowed to own them. And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it.
All right, John, you're a former federal prosecutor. I was a gun prosecutor. There are already restrictions on who can have guns, where you can have them, and what kind of gun you can have. And I noticed under President Obama and Vice President Biden, gun prosecutions actually went down. They went down for those 8 years. So what is the use of more gun laws if they're not going to enforce the ones we currently have?
Well, yeah, not only that, and that's absolutely true, but what is the use of having gun laws and laws in general if you're going to defund police and you're going to pass laws that makes it almost impossible to enforce crime? Let me throw a few statistics at you of what's happened in New York City since they defunded police. Shootings are up 97%. Between now and the end of the year, they expect at least 1,000 more people to be shot in New York City. 97% of the shooting victims are the very people they think they're trying to help: minorities, African Americans, and Hispanics. 9 out of 10 individuals arrested with a gun are out on the street instantly. 50% of people who are charged with shooting someone are out on the street within a day. Those are the types of things that are leading to an unbelievable crime rate. And they told me not a day goes by in New York City where a stray bullet doesn't hit a child. Think about that. And all the statistics I just cited to you have happened since they cut the police budget. And they're down 500 detectives. Detectives make gun cases. Detectives go after the major crimes in cities like New York City. And when you're cutting the detectives to make your budget, you got a real problem. And lastly, proactive policing, which is what I was used to do, and I'm sure you did, Trey, going after gun traffickers, illegal gun traffickers and all that. Those are the first things that are sacrificed when you don't have funding, because you're putting out fires all over the city instead of going after the hard criminals. And that's what's going on, and that's why President Biden, with his tired old rhetoric on guns, completely misses the mark. We've got to defund, instead of defunding police, we need to refund police and getting them back into their communities, especially with respect to community policing. He's not proposing any of that. He's just bringing out tired old Democratic lines that aren't working.
You know, John, there's a tendency, I think, of people want to blame Congress for almost everything. I'm going to resist that tendency because the overwhelming majority of crime is state and local. So what realistically can you as a congressman or the body itself do if 90% of the crime is state and local? What can and should Congress's role be?
I think we could help state and local governments by providing more fund, like cops grants is a good example, to pay for more cops on the street, but have ties with that and say, look, we'll give you this money, but your police department has to meet national accreditation standards. And if we do that, the departments will be better, the training will be better, and maybe they'll start funding police again. But we need to get more cops on the street, and they need to be better trained. And you can't do that without funding. And I'm perfectly willing to advocate for more funding for police from the federal level to help supplement the budgets, so long as the locals don't defund police and then, like I said, refund police and are committed to making them better again. And that's what we have to do. And that's what we can do.
John, I appreciate you taking a break from committee and votes. I think our viewers really benefit from hearing a former federal prosecutor's perspective. We're grateful for your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, my friend. Good seeing you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.